All right. In this intro right here, we're going to take a look at graphing quadratic functions that are in vertex form. Okay, and so that's going to be this vertex form is going to be a little bit different than the standard form that we were in. And again, this is the second form that we're going to learn that has to do with just getting the parabolas that we have on the graph. And so, what we're going to be reviewing is this business. What are the advantages to vertex form of a quadratic formula? Or, pardon me, a quadratic equation. And how do I graph a quadratic equation, or how do I graph quadratic equations in vertex form? So, looking over here, comparing the difference. Okay, so in the last video and lesson that we went ahead and did is that we had our standard form, which was in the f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. In this form now, we have something that is a little bit different, okay? And these parts are going to be explained later on in the video when we start to go ahead and flesh these things out, okay? So we're going to see some new variables, and we're going to, just a whole different setup, and we're going to realize that this vertex form also has a lot of usefulness to it over this business of our standard form, okay? But one of the first things that we want to do is that let's go ahead and be able to manipulate our vertex form and kind of just put the plug in some points over here and see where this takes us. So we're plugging in points in for x of the vertex form, and what we want to do is we want to go over to Desmos, okay, because that is one of our best ways to just be all on the same page, and it has that slick tool that is going to be, if I go to Math Tools and I go to Scientific Calculator, okay, so what we can do is that we can start plugging in these values, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by going parentheses, and I can see that my first input that I want to put in is going to be 0. So I go 0 over here, 0, oops, and it put it outside the parentheses. I didn't want that. So 0 minus 1, okay? And I'm going to go squared minus 4. And that's going to give me a negative 3. So let's put that into what we got going on over here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see the way that that's going to play out. So zooming on in, what it would look like is that we'd have parentheses plugging in 0 minus 1 squared minus 4. And we said that that is going to give us an output of a negative 3. Okay. So what we do is that we plot that point. We have 0 as our input. That's our x, which is right here. And the output is going to be a negative 3. So what we're going to do is that we're going to plot that point just like this. Okay. Next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to plug 1. And that means that I got 1 minus 1 squared minus 4. And I got that negative 4 there. Okay. And I'm going to show you why that is a negative 4. So remember that we go on over to this, our scientific calculator here, and we're just changing the value of this guy right here. That's the x that is right here, and we're plugging in all those values. So to do so, I'm going to go on over, and let's see where this takes us. So I'm going to subtract that out, and you can see that that is going to give us a negative 4 there. That'd be like 1 minus 1, which is 0 squared, minus 4, which would give us a negative 4. So now we plot that point. So that is going to be 1, negative 4. Okay. And again, how did I get that? 1, -4. And so going in the next point, and then I'm going to just fill them in and have you guys check your work, is that we would go here. That is 2 minus 1 squared minus 4. And so if we needed our calculator, remember that we're just changing this part right here. So that means is that we would go over here, change that to a 2, and you can see that's going to return a -3, which is over here. And so doing that out, is that I'm going over here, and that is going to be a -3. So when I plug in 2, I get a -3 out. So what we want to do is plug in the rest of these guys right here. Oops, so I didn't want that. Plug in the rest of these and get these values and plot them out. So I'm going to pause the video and allow you to go ahead and plug them on in. And then we're going to resume and see how it forms a parabola. All right, so based on just plug in the points, whether you do it in the calculator or not, this is what I got. And so let's go ahead and plot them out. As we can see that last time we left off, we were here, okay, which is going to be a 3, 0. So I'm going to go 3, 0 right there. The next point is 4, 5. And the point after that is 5, 12. And then we got this point right here that is off the graph. So that's a sad face. We don't need to go ahead and plot that one. That's my fault. It went too far. Okay. And so we got a -1 that we're plugging on in and getting a 0. And we got a -2 that we're plugging in, and that's going to give me a 5. And then finally, that's a -3 plugging in, we got a 12. Okay. And so at the end of the day, what we can do is that we connect up all the dots and we have ourselves a parabola. Okay. And there's not going to be an assignment about just plugging in points with the parabola to the vertex form. But we're going to jump right into graphing the parabolas using a very strategic plan. And so that's where we start right here. And just go ahead and if you click on the next video, the lesson will resume and it will show you the strategies that you will have to go ahead and do to graph the parabolas in standard form. So see you in the next video.